Yes, team, good morning and welcome to another Monday Mindset session. So, today we are going to discuss fear. Now, I've done so many trainings on fear in the past, overcoming fear and procrastination, what the different levels of fear are, but it is ultimately the enemy. Fear is the only thing that holds each and every one of us back from what we want, whether it's the relationship, whether it's the business, whether it's the body, or anything in between. The only thing that will hold you back is fear. Now, the great thing about this is fear is not outside of you. We're not talking about a real world fear situation of a Arctic lorry hurtling the wrong way down the motorway towards your car, a gangster stood with a gun pointing at your head with a loaded bullet. That's what real fear is. It's when there's a chance of serious injury or death. Everything else is learned, and that means it comes from within you. And it's most likely an internal pattern, just like me. Trust me, I get afraid every single day. There is not one single day in this world goes past when I do not experience fear in some way, shape, or form. So not only have you probably been running it your whole life, you've probably only just realized that it's internal, and you've probably only just realized that you're in control of it. But that's the best thing about it, because anything that's internal within us and is an emotion and a feeling, not a circumstance, can be consciously changed, can be controlled, can be improved, can be worked on. Because anything that's triggered within, i.e. mind, thoughts, can be consciously changed. Now, a decision, this is the dangerous part, a decision that's made from fear is almost always the wrong decision. Whether that's in a business, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's a financial decision, a purchase, or anything in between, if that decision is made from fear, I guarantee you it's the wrong decision. Now, when you make a decision based on fear, like an example would be somebody might invest a huge amount of money into a business in something they're unsure on because they feel like their business is struggling and it's going to go bankrupt. They've not made a sensible decision based on what's best for the business. They've made a decision based on fear. People make decisions to stay in relationships because they're afraid of being on their own. They make decisions to stay in relationships because they're afraid of the other person being with someone else. They make decisions in relationships because they are afraid of not being enough, of not being loved, which is the two other biggest fears, which we're going to come on to. So I'd rather be in this than be alone. People make decisions based on a relationship because they're afraid of losing someone, not because they love someone. Now, all of those decisions, whether it's body, business, or relationships, the three keys to life essentially, or business, health, and relationships, is when you're operating from a position of scarcity. We don't make rash decisions when we're operating from abundance. We don't make rash decisions when we're feeling loved. We don't make rash decisions when we're feeling energetic. We make it when we're operating from scarcity. Now, this is the most random question in the world, right? And after this, I don't normally advise anyone to do this, but just have a quick 5-minute scroll on Instagram. In fact, go to the post on my Instagram. Follow me, like all my posts, share my stories, all helps the algorithm. I'm only joking. And go on to the reel where I showed everyone how to prep food in less than 7 minutes per day. And oh my God, because I'm such a bad person, I only used a microwave to microwave my fucking rice. And I put the steak in a non-hot pan. Of course I fucking did, you bellend, because if it was sizzling, you wouldn't have been able to hear me speak. And really put a bullet to my head now, because I'm totally going to get fucking cancer, I drank a can of Pepsi Max Cherry. 3 things on that video, right? There are hundreds of people on that post ranting, conspiracy theorists, big companies put things in foods to get us, addicted to them. No, not really. You're just a greedy fat cow who can't keep her feet out of the fridge. It's nothing to do with the additives that are in the foods. Angry people. There's about 3,000 comments on it. Angry people. So would you rather be happy today, I knew there was a point to this, or would you rather be angry or frustrated? Would most people rather be happy today, or would they rather be angry and frustrated? 99% of people would rather be angry and frustrated. They would choose to be angry and frustrated. They choose to be negative. They choose to rant. They choose to, quote unquote, put the world to rights. You only need to go on Facebook and see that people would rather be angry than happy. Each one of those people could have done, great post that, Lee, I'm really busy and that's really helped me sort my nutrition out. Thank you. But no, I'm going to attack a man who drinks Pepsi Max Cherry and has microwave rice. Based on, one woman actually told me, I said, what's your research based on? She went, just search microwaves on Instagram, loads will come up. Okay. Don't go back to my degree or anything like that. But anyway, they love being angry. They love it. Why? Why do we all love being angry? In fact, I'm being slightly angry now at the woman who's being angry on my thread. So why do we do it? Because anger, as we know, is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It doesn't. You do. It just puts you in a bad mood. Because anger meets the number one human need of certainty. You guys will remember I did that 5 series videos of the key to live in, I can't remember what I called it, the key to live in the something life, the key to live in a something life, I don't know what it was, key to living your best life maybe. 5 series, and it was all about the 6 basic human needs. Certainty and uncertainty, significance, can't even remember them now, validation, growth and contribution. So anger meets the human need of certainty. Love is the other one. Okay, so why does it happen? Well, it happens because you're afraid. And we can overcome fear with certainty, which I'm going to explain. This is quite complex, this. So whether it's your parents, whether it's your partner, whether it's people, whether it's the press, that young lady ranting on my Facebook about how microwaving food is going to kill me, and Pepsi Max is going to kill me as well. And don't even get me started on salt. That's definitely going to kill me. You'd almost think I was 44 years old, really healthy, could run 200 miles without stopping, and I'm in the peak physical and mental condition of my life. So anyway, sure she has a wine at the weekend, but we'll not get into that. So she's being controlled. She's afraid. Where did all of these thoughts come from? Why is she so angry about fucking salt, microwaves and Pepsi Max Cherry? Because she's been controlled by the press. She's been controlled by fear. Why did everyone shit themselves in lockdown? Because they're controlled by fear. That's what else she said to me as well. Oh, I bet you're bloody vaccinated as well, aren't you? I said, fucking am, yeah, I wanted to go to Ibiza. I had a right holiday. It's amazing. Anyhow, fear. She won't have got vaccinated. Fear. Everything. Fear. Salt. Fear. Pepsi Max Cherry. Fear. All come from the press. Ladies, many of you have probably had it from male figures in your life. It's a very common thing. You've been controlled by fear. And it always comes from the press, people or parents. So fear is the fastest way to control people. This is why it's so powerful, whether it's you controlling yourself or other people controlling you. So when you are afraid, you value certainty as the survival strategy. And there's no more certain action than anger. You know exactly how it's going to make you feel. It's like drugs. It's like sugar. It's like booze. It's like sex. It's like pornography. It's like gambling. It feels fucking great in the moment. And then dependent on which one of those you pick, anywhere between 30 seconds and 3 days later, you're met with anger, guilt, resentment, frustration, self-loathing. But you went straight to anger, like you could go straight to sugar, straight to porn, straight to gambling, straight to booze or drugs, to feel good in the moment. And it's absolutely certain, isn't it? You don't think, oh, I'm going to have this glass of wine and I don't know how it's going to make you feel, or I'm going to sniff this line, or any of those things, or I'm going to eat this cake, or I'm going to watch this porn, or I'm going to place this bet. You're laughing, but those are the 5 things that mostly destroy people's lives. You know exactly what you're going to get, and you know exactly how it's going to feel, the same as anger. And you do it because it makes you feel certain. It's a survival strategy. Now, what's the other main need that I mentioned? Might have experienced this one a little bit in my life. Probably doing it a little bit now. Significance. That's why I told her to stick YouTube up her ass, because I've got a degree. Why did I do that? Think it made me feel significant? Think it made me feel like I was better than her? More intelligent, more knowledgeable? Of course I did. Okay? So when you're ranting, so before anyone says that I'm preachy, I'm basically slating myself into the middle of next week. I've dug myself a big hole here. I might as well go and get a spade. You feel significant when you're ranting. This is why people get on their high horse every 2 seconds on Facebook and have a rant about everything from the government to immigration to local people to whatever. Okay? Getting angry makes them feel significant, and then they get surrounded by other angry, significant people who are like, yeah, I agree. To the woman who just pulled out in the roundabout in front of me and nearly crashed into my car. Oh, like, wow, anger, significant. People go and rant about their local communities, so other people then rant with them, and they all feel angry and significant together, and they know the exact emotion they're going to feel, just like eating cake. Am I making sense? We're guaranteed how we're going to feel when we get angry at someone or something, and we feel significant. So it meets 2 human needs: certainty and significant. It's why people scream and shout. It's why very often, and it's not just a male-female thing, but it's why a lot of men bully women. Because it makes them feel significant. They scream and shout. They inflict fear. It makes them feel in charge. It makes them feel in control. Exactly the same with the government. Politicians. Do you ever see a politician speaking from a really calm point like this? No, they're ranting. Okay? So, back to the point. 2 biggest fears. I'm completely uncertain as to what's going to happen in my future. Number 1, most of us. And I'm not enough, and as a result, I won't be loved. The first one is probably, there's actually 3 there, I can't count. But the second 2 are the most significant fears from childhood. Number 1, I'm not enough, even though you were born enough. Number 2, as a result, I won't be loved. Number 3, certainty, uncertainty. So we can get rid of all of those by ranting. But just like sugar, it feels good in the moment, and then we're hit with guilt and regret. This happens in all relationships, by the way, personal and professional. Okay? You get angry so you don't have to feel like you're afraid. Just let that sink in. You get angry so you don't have to feel like you're afraid. You don't have to feel like you're not enough. You don't have to feel like you're uncertain and not in control. So we get angry and we rant. Okay? But trust me, I'm going to switch this round now. Fear is not just stopping the quality of your life, your body, your business, and your relationships. Fear is the biggest thing that will affect your entire life. And I want every single one of you to write this down right now. Jane, you're going to have to shout across the gym, ask somebody for a lipstick, and I want you to write it across your cleavage. Imagine if you actually did that. That might be my most viewed Zoom video ever. Girl writes Freeman statement across breasts live on Zoom in the middle of a workout. Anyhow, shut up, Lee. All you have to do, listen carefully. All you have to do, Dan, don't make me laugh. All you have to do is trade fear for faith. All I have to do is trade fear for faith. Might have to shorten it, Jane, to just fear, not faith. Because here's the truth, right? Here's what I want to hit home. One, all I have to do is trade fear for faith. Guess which one you were born with? You were born with faith. You weren't born with fear. You learned fear and you were born with faith. Think of this as an analogy, right? Who's going to drive somewhere today? Put your hand up. Everyone. How dangerous are roads? You could lose your life at any second. Full of idiots, not paying attention, on their phones, scrolling, turning behind, shouting at the kids, doing their fucking makeup in the rearview villa on the way to work. Yes, AJ's nodding. I'm guessing that's means you've done that. Smoking cigarettes, eating food, shouting at the kids. Hell, there's probably even someone receiving it whilst driving on a road somewhere in the UK right now. Wrong, but true. They are dangerous. Not even your fault. Okay? Someone could just hurtle towards you on the wrong side of the road. Yet you could get up every morning and go, not going to drive today, it's dangerous. Not going to drive today, I might die. Not going to drive today, what if someone crashes into me? Not going to drive today, what if AJ swerves across the road when she's doing her lippy in the rearview mirror? So, roads are dangerous, but you use them every day. And you use them for two reasons. One, you need them. And two, they lead you to where you want to go. You cannot get where you want to go without them. Okay? And leadership, self-leadership, and life leadership is exactly the same. You're always still going to feel afraid. We still feel afraid on the road. You still have that moment when someone like nearly hits you and you, again, crap yourself into the middle of next week. And again, here's a reframe, right? Here's a really important reframe. Let's go back to what we said at the start. I love it when my mind does this. Got two options. We can rant in front of your kids, screaming and shouting, effing and blinding at the woman that pulled out in front of you before going home and writing a Facebook post to the woman who pulled out in front of you on X roundabout, who's never going to read it because she's not on your Facebook and she doesn't even know who you are, but you're going to spend your whole morning locked in an angry, ranty post on Facebook to the woman on the roundabout who is never going to see that post. Makes you feel good in the moment. The anger is certain and it makes you feel significant, and then you can spend half the morning talking about the dangers of roads these days with random people on Facebook when you could be focusing on your body and your business. But anyway, leadership is the same. You'll always feel afraid, or you could go, forgot to say this bit, that was lucky. Thank God she didn't crash into me. The universe is looking after me. I'm truly grateful today that that car missed me. That was a close shave. Hope that person's okay and they don't do that again. Total reframe, right? One, listen to my language. One went, one went. So leadership is the same. You will still always feel afraid. Don't try and think you shouldn't be afraid. You cannot be courageous without fear, and you cannot be fearless. I did a presentation on this, on a whole hour presentation on that, okay? Courage is not the absence of fear. They have to exist, just like happy and sad, just like love and hate. That's why some of the people that we love the most absolutely bend our heads into the middle of next week. We can't ever experience happy days without knowing what a sad day feels like. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know it was a happy day because we wouldn't have anything to cross-reference it against. So it's just about not letting the fear stop you. It's not trying to be fearless. It's not trying to get it out of your life. It's learning to that classic book. It's a bit cheesy, this line, but feel the fear and do it anyway. Because what's the worst that could happen? If you journaled it out, there actually isn't a lot. Okay? So leadership is about feeling afraid, but not letting it stop you. That is it. Okay? Because feeling afraid and not letting it stop you, that's courage and that's faith. And if you have courage and if you have faith in yourself, in your ideas, in your future, in your actions, and you trust yourself and you back yourself, that is when things go to new levels. So it's swapping fear for faith, but not thinking that fear is ever going to go away, because it won't, but learning how to push through it, that's courage and that's faith. But the reason why, I love that I've just used that word, the reason why, I did a big post on Instagram about my why last week, which was Logan, my why yesterday, which was my mum, which I reframed into how we can find purpose in pain, not just pity in pain, is that your why is so important. Don't lose sight of why you're doing what you're doing in pursuit of the goal. I've done this massively recently. It's about the life that you want. It's not about the financial number. It's about what does that give you freedom. Okay? It's not about the number on the scales or the body. It's about what it gives you, the energy, the health, the confidence, being a role model to your kids, your loved ones, or everything else in between. Okay? It's the same as driving on the road. Okay? When you push through is when you feel fear and you do it anyway, because what you're going after matters to you. So don't forget the mission, chasing the metrics. Saying, I want a 7-figure business by the end of this year, as I've said multiple times, is just a pointless, dumbass statement. Why do I want it? What does money give you? Money gives you freedom. What does health give you? It gives you confidence and freedom. What does a relationship give you? It gives you happiness. Don't lose sight of wanting the thing and being so focused on the thing that you probably can't control when you're going to get the thing. Refocus on the mission. Because that's when you are able to push through fear, when what you are going after matters to you. This is why a normal human who's probably never done any type of training would run straight into a burning building if their child or significant other or loved one or dog was in that burning house. Because what's in there matters. If it was just a collection of old CDs and a couple of sofas, leave it. Let it fucking burn. It's when you're going after what matters that you can overcome fear. So remind yourself of your mission over the metrics. Write that down as well. Mission over metrics. Change, putting that one on her left arm. Faith, not fear. Mission over metrics. This is why your why is so important. So we remember what the thing we are going after gets us. Whether it's the body or the business, what it really gets us is freedom and happiness. And if we're focused on freedom and happiness, growth and contribution, the other two human needs, then that's what matters. And when it matters, that's when we go after it. And when it matters is when we overcome fear. So every morning, remind yourselves why you're doing what you're doing. And don't lose sight of it. Because when you have a mission that's so powerful, with a meaning behind it that's even more powerful. I mean, I'm even talking simplistic things here, guys, like, oh, I want to do a 30k month, whatever. I want to lose X amount of pounds. Well, I want to make enough money to take Logan to the real Lapland at Christmas. How much more powerful does that sound rather than chasing a vanity metric? I want to be strong, fit and healthy because when I'm 90, I still want to be around seeing him grow up. That's why I stay fit, strong and healthy. Because I want him to be proud of me, because I want him to look at me in the playground thinking, that's my dad. And he might be the oldest, but he's also the biggest, best looking and most ripped. Sounds funny, right? And we're laughing, but does that a little bit more, meaningful than just, I want to get loads of female attention on the beach in Benidorm? Which one's got more meaning? Which one's going to get you up on the dark mornings? So, success becomes real when we push through fear. But this is when most people give up. This is all of the time, right? Every single person who's ever quit and left this plan without getting the result they wanted did so because of fear. They stopped seeing results, they stopped showing up, and it triggered their two most internal fears of they're not good enough, and as a result they won't be loved and they're going to be mocked, judged and laughed at. So they went back out of the plan, back to their old life where everything was certain. They probably started being angry at me, angry at the world, angry at just another plan that didn't work for them when they didn't do the work. And thus that cycle will repeat to them until the day they die. The people that succeed push through that. When it gets tough, they push through. When they have bad weeks, they push through. When they're afraid, they push through. When they feel like they're not enough, they remind themselves that they are and push through. When they lose sight of their mission, they redefine their mission. When they lose sight of the why, they redefine the why and the emotional leverage, the meaning towards the mission. We can't just have a mission. The mission has to have meaning, okay? Because when you have mission, fear leaves the body and courage builds. And that's when the whole playing field changes. That's when the game of life changes. When you're that on your mission, like, do you think even, I can never think of examples when I come to people like this, but who's super rich people, Alan Sugar, Elon Musk, people like that. Do you think they ever sat down and journaled like how much money they wanted to make per month? Or do you just think their mission was so deep, so powerful and so meaningful, they were just that on their mission, they didn't even think about it, and they made millions and millions and millions of pounds? Look at top athletes. They won't have thought about what percentage body fat they wanted to be at, or what they wanted to win, or the significance, or they wanted to get in the newspapers, or any of these things. Even someone like Ronaldo or top boxers, they're just on a mission to be the best boxer. They didn't go to try and make money. They're on a mission to be the best footballer. Some people do this, they're just on a mission to change lives. You know, people like Tony Robbins, all about growth and contribution. He won't have sat down and said one day, I want to make £1 million a month, which he probably does 10 million a month now. He just wanted to change lives. He wanted to grow. He wanted to contribute. And when the mission is bigger than the metrics, and you have mission and the emotional meaning and the leverage behind it, that's when fear just leaves. And every day you're in that place, fear leaves the body and courage builds. And that's when the game changes. Because we all feel fear and uncertainty every single day. I cannot remember a day in my life when I've not, one, at some point felt like I'm not enough. Two, at some point felt like I'm not loved. Three, not felt afraid. And four, not felt uncertain. They are not going to go, right? You will feel them every day. I feel them every single day. But this changes from the part of your brain that you decide to feed. So I can feed those thoughts and I can focus on those thoughts, those naughty little dog thoughts, those automatic, those ants, those automatic negative thoughts, and I can feed them, or I can say, no, I'm not listening to you, I'm going to create new ones. Because whatever you feed, just like a plant or a human or a muscle, gets bigger and it gets stronger. So the diet we need to be most concerned with is not the foods that we're putting in our mouth, it's the thoughts that we're putting in our head. So feed your courage. And you do this by daily wins. So let's please go back to doing daily wins. Someone put on their form this week, I don't really feel like I have any wins this week. Well, if you were completing your daily form, not your weekly form, you'd have had 21 fucking wins. And trust me, if each and every one of you can't find 3 small wins every day, you're not looking hard enough and you're more committed to telling yourself the story about how life's not working for you than you are them pointing your mind in the right direction. Because those wins are there. You'd just rather tell the story about being stuck, being angry, ranting. They're fucking there. Open your eyes. Okay? Because feed your courage with daily wins. Feed your confidence with daily wins. Be around courageous, confident people, because environment trumps will every single time. You will always be the product of your environment. This is why I invest thousands of pounds to get around the right people. Don't tolerate your old thoughts based on memories of the past. Create new thoughts based on a vision of the future and feed them. Feed them with pictures. Feed them with reminders. What's behind me just now? There's a vision of my future, and there's 4 examples of why that Labrador stood up with a golf club is actually a combination between my granddad and my first black Labrador called Kim. That trophy is charity mission. Those 2 trophies are something else. And I've got 2 cards from Logan telling me how much he loves me and my favourite picture of him, with a bit of a vision board. So as soon as I walk into this room, I'm feeding my head. Ah, yeah, that's my mission. Ah, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. Oh, yeah, actually, I've got 3 big fucking trophies there that remind me of massive things that I've achieved. So the second I get into this room, apart from coffee, cheers, Dan, I'm feeding myself with the right things. I'm feeding my courage. I'm feeding my confidence. I'm reminding myself that I'm not going to tolerate my old thoughts. I'm not going to tolerate my old memories. I'm going to create new ones. Because trust me, every day you're still going to get knocked down. You're still going to experience the fear. You're still going to feel like you're not enough and you're not loved. But you can change those because they're internal. And it's not about getting rid of those thoughts and fears altogether. It's about learning how to get back up and keep moving forwards. Because all you need to do is keep going. Dan, you and I have had this conversation multiple times this year. All Dan needs to do is keep going on the trajectory that he's on, and he will get to where he wants now. Pure and simple, that's it. But what holds us back time and time again, as I said, and I've discussed this so many times, this is the only reason people quit. And the only two fears that hold every single person back, and you might not be experiencing this right now, and you might not even think you've experienced it, but trust me, you have. This isn't Freeman speak. This is research, this. Every single human has two predominant fears, as I said. One, I am not enough. Two, as a result, I will not be loved. Even going back to ancient times, if that happened, you were excluded from the tribe, and then you'd starve and then you'd die. Okay? That's it. But here's the thing, guys. That's all bullshit. It's all stories you tell yourself to keep yourself stuck. And then sometimes probably go back to anger, resentment and frustration because it's certain and you know what you're going to get, just like the cake or the bet or the porn or the drugs or the alcohol. You're going to feel good in the moment and then it's going to feel worse. Because every single one of you was born good enough. You were loved enough to be born. If you weren't loved and you weren't enough, you wouldn't have been born. There's something way bigger than us, guys. And if people don't believe that, then you're more crackers than Sharon Shazzy, who thinks that she's going to die and get cancer from drinking a can of Pepsi Max Cherry and microwaving a bit of rice. But you were born to love. You were born to live. You were born to contribute. You were born to succeed. You were born to be happy. We were all born with all of those things. We won a 400 million to 1 spunk race to even meet the egg. You were born a winner. No other egg got here, did they? Just you. You were the strongest swimmer. You were the winner. You were born a winner. You were born a miracle. You were born with love. You were born strong and you were born with only two fears: loud noises and falling. That's it. Everything else has been learned. Everything else has been programmed. Everything else has been conditioned. And anything that's programmed can be unprogrammed. Revisit the 3 sessions that I did on the neuroplasticity stuff. I think one is called The Power of Neuroplasticity, one's called Rewire Your Mind for Success in 7 Days, and the other one is called Rewire Your Happiness. All of them talk about neuroplasticity of the brain and how we can reprogram it. Just like the hardwired electrics are hardwired into this house. They can still be changed. It's going to take a bit of work though. And your brain will be the same. But sometimes we just need to understand that everything else is fake or learned. So don't listen to them. Drop that story. But also remember, it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to be afraid every day. Fear can be a great driver. You can actually use it to your advantage. Sometimes people actually learn to operate and learn their best kind of resilience and grit and mindset when they are that afraid that they have no choice. Ever seen a person in a business who's about to go bankrupt? Check how hard they start working. Ever seen a woman train who all of a sudden needs to get to a certain weight to have IVF? Watch how hard they train. Ever seen someone go to the doctor and get a health scare and be told you need to do X or this is going to happen? It's all within there. So sometimes fear can be a positive, but you have to learn how to use it as a driver, not allow it to control you. Fear can be a good thing. Fear can be your friend. But essentially, the fears that we experience that hold us back are not real. Remember the acronym FEAR, false evidence appearing real. You only have two: loud noises and falling as a child. As an adult, you tend to have two more real ones: death or serious injury. Everything else is just a learned emotional response to a trigger to protect you, because the bodies and the mind are hardwired for safety. They're hardwired for comfort. They're not hardwired to push through fear. Okay? So it is okay to be afraid, but you just need to lose that story that goes with it that protects you. And that's what it is. We tell a story about fear that protects us. It protects us from taking action. It protects us from discomfort. Because whatever that story is that you keep telling yourself to protect yourself, that's the one that's keeping you stuck. And as I said, I'm going to go over it again and again and again because I wrote it down this many times. It is simply those two fears. I'm not enough and I won't be loved. So whatever story you're telling yourself around that that's preventing you from taking action, that's the story you need to change. Now, you might not be feeling that right now. This is what people don't get. So when I'm on fire, when I'm thriving, when I'm on stage, when business is booming, when I'm looking shredded, when 4,000 people have liked my latest abs picture on Instagram and I feel amazing because I feel loved, I feel like I'm enough, I feel like I'm significant, when Logan tells me how much he loves me, when everything's great, you don't feel these things. So you don't feel them all the time. And then all of a sudden something happens. There's a financial change. There's a change in your relationship. There's a ratty conversation with a client, a customer, or a partner. There's a little mini crisis in your life. And all of a sudden, bang! Who's experienced this? You're fine. And then all of a sudden, you're right back in there, experiencing those exact emotions that came from a trigger. Then we start telling ourselves the same story. That's what we need to change. Because even when you're great, something will always happen that makes you feel afraid again. That's just life. But again, as I said, it can be very, very powerful because sometimes it can be powerful, it can be crippling. So sometimes then we feel like, now I need to do something to survive, and I take action and it takes me to a next level. Like, deadlines drive decision, right? And sometimes fear can be a great motivator. But also, sometimes, again, in those same situations when all of a sudden we don't feel like we're enough and we're good enough and we're not good enough at business and our body's not good enough and we're not loved and X, Y, and Z, we then sometimes do things in order to survive. But you'll always feel it, just don't let it be in charge. Any man or woman who says they don't experience fear is full of crap. Okay? Just don't let it be in charge. Don't let it be bigger than you. Because deep down, as I said, you're not born with fear, you're born with faith. You're not born with fear, you're born with spirit. You're not born with fear, you're born with soul. You're not born with fear, you're born with strength. But later on in life, that has to come from your mission. And your mission must be so strong and the meaning behind it must be so powerful that even when you feel fear, you just push through it. But today, guys, I want you to trust that you are enough. Trust yourself. Back yourself. Be your own best friend. Talk about yourself how you talk about your best friend. And push through all fear because you are good enough. You were born a miracle. And when you push through that fear and you start to get progress, that's when the next levels open up. That's when confidence builds. That's when you feel alive. So set that standard for yourself today. But also remember what I said as well. Be cautious of where we're focused today. Because the magic in your life happens when you create the right emotions and feelings. Not just experiencing them, not them just drop into your lap, when you create them. Because if we're operating from fear, because what we're focusing on is making us feel afraid, that's like trying to drive with your foot on the brake. If we're operating from courage and faith and belief, That's like a guiding light that's just pulling us forward. So ask yourself these questions to wrap up. What do I need to believe about myself today? And I'm going to wrap up with one thing that we all need to believe about ourselves. And again, you'll have heard me say this multiple times over the last however many years I've been doing this. The one thing that you need to believe today is that life happens for you, not to you. You're the driver, you're not the passenger. You're the survivor and the warrior, you're not the victim. And every single one of you is the creator of your future. And in every single one of those situations that make you feel afraid, you can look for the lesson. The world is telling you something. Why am I feeling this way? What am I focused on that I need to change? What beliefs have I forgotten about? Let's go back to my identity. What is the world showing me? The world is always giving you a lesson, and that's why it happens for you, not to you. You just need to search it, because every single one of you is enough. Every single one of you is good enough. Every single one of you is the creator of your own destiny. And whenever you feel afraid, just remember one thing. Every single one of you survived 100% of your toughest days so far. You have 100% knockout rate. What more evidence do you need that as long as you keep pushing through fear and you develop faith, not fear, everything you want's coming your way? Guys, have the best day.